like you're in a battle. I mean, you really are in a war with yourself. To think back to that time where every single breath that came out, in and out of my lungs, was a struggle. Just to be me was so hard, and I was so exhausted. Cystic fibrosis is a genetic disorder that attacks the whole body, but it really, for me, got my lungs. So it's progressive and gradual, but it's just kind of like this beast inside of you that's just trying to take control of you. Everything's difficult, especially when you can't breathe. And so you'd have all these little battles all throughout the day, but if I could lay down in bed with my family, with my children, and still smile, I won that war that day. The doctor's main goal is to keep me alive. So they do set lots of limits and lots of expectations for me to follow. Their goal is to keep me here as long as I can. Well, my goal was to live a happy life.
You would never think for 1 second that Selwa had cystic fibrosis. She would never show it, for one, and two, she just was so strong. And that was something that was very attractive for me, as well as that she was beautiful, just a beautiful person. One day we were in her apartment, and I looked down on her countertop, and there was a letter there, and it said Children's Hospital Cystic Fibrosis Clinic. And I would have never asked somebody something so personal, but for some reason with Selwa, it just came out of my mouth.
And Scott looks down and he's like, "Do you have cystic fibrosis?" And I'm like, "Yes," and he's just like, "Okay."
I didn't really know what that meant. I had heard of it, but I had no idea what came along with cystic fibrosis. But as I found out more and more about it, it just intensified, my love for her and respect for her. I just was completely in love with her and him.
What happens when you're pregnant with and you have cystic fibrosis is your body completely stops taking care of cystic fibrosis. I would tell them time and time again, no, I promise you that I can do this. I know with all my faith, with all my heart, that I can do this. During my first pregnancy with Isabella, it was not an easy one, and I think that's why they were very apprehensive for my second pregnancy.
I had kind of kicked into a protective mode at that point. Losing my wife and my daughter's mother was not something that I wanted to chance. But God and Selwa had a different plan. We have Mitch, and he's a miracle. Again,
it was just another testament to faith. No matter what people say and no matter how many limitations are put on you, you can still do it. I have 2 beautiful babies because I fought for that, and I don't regret it at all. As I got sicker, treatments stopped to work, antibiotics stopped working. Just walking to the bathroom was hard. Just getting out of bed was hard. I couldn't be me anymore, and I hated that. I hated saying that. One day my friend was saying, "You should try yoga. You're naturally flexible. You used to dance. I think you would really enjoy it." So I went to my first class, and I was like, I could do this. I could get on my mat, and I could move slowly, and I could concentrate on a pose, and I could work hard on something and just have my mind focus on my movement. And I would forget. I would forget that I was sick. I would forget everything that was happening to me. I forget that I'm dying. And I could just be a girl on a mat, nailing a handstand, or going through a vinyasa flow. And there was so much peace in that. That was that reassurance that, hey, I'm still alive. I'm still here. I became a yoga instructor, and they gave me a class, and and they trusted in me. They were amazing. So it's one of those, I'm glad I did it, because it's one of those things again, you know, no limitations, only a harder fight. I did what I wanted to do.
Her functions were quite a bit lower than they had been. They had leveled off for quite a long time, and then they dropped. It was so hard for her just to do things that we take for granted every day. You go from, you know, I have these lungs, I can survive as long as I can survive, to I'm gonna get new lungs. Well, there's some statistics on that, on what your survival is.
The decision was not easy to make because there was that chance that I wouldn't make it. And I wasn't giving up, I was just needing something new to help me fight. So my husband and I, we prayed about it, and I just knew that it was time.
Going in strong, coming out stronger. Love everybody.
It got pretty nerve-wracking at that point, you know. You had to say, hey, you know, I'll be here when you wake up.
My lungs took their last breath for me, which was really hard because we fought so hard together for so long.
The surgery lasted, I think it was about 7 to 8 hours. You know, walking in and seeing your wife in intensive care on a breathing machine is pretty tough. It's pretty tough. But I had this really calm feeling that, you know, Jesus was taking care of everything and that she was going to be fine.
I can remember waking up and feeling like I'm suffocating. It was hours of learning how to breathe. Slowly, I guess I was doing it right, so they felt like it was time to take out the ventilator. And Scott is just hovering over me, asking 1,000 questions, making sure everything's okay. He was not gonna leave my side. Because he was fighting for me at that time when he thought that maybe I couldn't fight for myself. And they called me Yogi on the floor, and I was walking and getting up like the next day. Like no one was able to do things like that. My recovery was amazing. I basically was out of there in 2 weeks when some people don't even get out of there in 2 months. Because my body was so strong, but my lungs weren't. So all you had to do, just take out the lungs, put some new ones in, and I was ready to go.
And I attribute a lot of that to, you know, her yoga, having that will and determination to be a strong person. There's nobody tougher.
Every day, I wake up and I can breathe. Something that I haven't been able to do in so long. Sometimes just the sound of my breath, and I'll just break out into tears just to hear this deep sounding breath that's coming from me. I can't put it into words. Maybe there is a chance that I'll get to see my daughter walk down the aisle. Maybe there's that chance that I'll get to take my son to college. Everything's different. I always like to think that when I look back at my life, that it would be the exact same life if I were to not have cystic fibrosis. I've done everything that I have wanted to do, and I have no regrets. There was those times, you know, that you kind of clench your fist and just like, I don't understand, and those are good. That's okay. But the key is, as long as you stand back up and get back up and continue your fight. Maybe my life will be a little shorter than what the doctors intended, but I lived my life the way I wanted to, and I'm happy.